Daddy. I'll stop quilting. I'm so excited to have you here today. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day and joining me. And you see this handsome group behind me. I'm so excited to introduce them to you and so that you can get to know them. I was quilting on our wonderful brand new 16X Elite machine. Oh God, this machine sews beautifully. I can't tell you how much fun it is. Was having a hard time stopping, so they said I could sew or quilt as we came into the intro. So let's jump in and let me introduce you to the engineering team. Now this is just part of them. Some of them were a little worried about going on live, but I just want you to know that these guys and gals, because there's cute little Alyssa, she's the lone woman on that team, they do a fabulous job. And I'm going to have Cody here, who's the head of the engineering department. This is cute Cody right here.
Hey everybody. I'm always excited to be here.
He's going to introduce them.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here today and talk about some of our engineering team. We really do have an amazing team, and they just spend so much time and effort trying to be able to understand who you are, so that way we can help solve the problems that we see people have when trying to quilt or trying to be creative. And we want to be able to always continue to empower that and be able to make it so you guys continue that. And we want to just introduce a few of our team over here. We're going to start over here with Fred. He is also the owner's son, and so that's very exciting. And so his name is Fred Bagley, and he's been a big part of this engineering team for a really long time. How long have you been with the team now, Fred?
No, I guess it's been close to a little over 10 years now.
Oh, yeah. And it's been amazing. Fred has been able to help us with so many projects, and he really has done an amazing job being able to continue to always help us improve. We're all about continuously improving and being able to make it so we can always make it so we can make
innovate, yes.
Things better.
Yeah, so this is cute, Fred.
Yeah, and then next to Fred, we got Sam. He was a big part also of the 16-inch machine.
This is part of the family too.
And this is Sam Bagley also. And Carla's their aunt, by the way.
Yeah, I
So it's a big family here. We love it, and we have a lot of fun. But Sam's been a big part. How long have you been working with us, Sam?
I guess technically, well, about 2.5 years, I guess I'd say. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's been awesome. Sam's one of our electrical engineers. You are an embedded systems engineer, right?
Yeah.
Which is really cool. And he really does, and he designs all of our circuit boards and helps it so we can program them and make it so everything runs and functions correctly. On these machines, our 16-inch machine here, he programmed the screen, he programmed the firmware for making it so it communicates and the motor runs correctly. And so when you guys push the button to start sewing, it all works and everything happens correctly. And so he's been a big part of that, and we'll let him share a little bit more here in a second. All right, and then we got Daniel. Daniel is a new member of our team, so it's been really fun to have him, and he's been here for a couple months now, right?
Just 2 months, I think.
And so we're really excited to have him. He's been able to come and bring some really young creative ideas and be able to think outside the box and be able to help us see the things that we get stuck on and be able to ask some questions that help it so we can be able to see from a different perspective, which has been really fun and being able to help us push ourselves to the next level. And we got Michael. Michael's been with us for a little bit longer. How long have you been here, Michael?
About 3 years.
Yes, Michael's been also a huge part. He was a huge part in designing the 16-inch machine also. And he's did a phenomenal job. And he's really been able to help us be able to organize and get all the details right and really be able to see what this project could be. He helped design all the mechanics and the systems that make it so the machine will get that perfect stitch and being able to make it so everything runs smoothly and it doesn't feel like it's running too hard in your hands, and you can have perfect control, and you really can be able to make it so you can make your stitch as precise as you want. And then we got Kent. Kent's been with us for
a
really long time. He's helped with so many projects.
Yeah.
It's the invented
Stitch
rock.
regulation, yeah, big.
I'm the old man in the group with all these young kids, and I've been working with the Grace Company for probably over 15 years now, and just been involved in the electronics kind of right from the beginning.
Yeah, he's helped with our automation system. He designed our Quilt Motion QCT software and been able to help do all of that. And so everything that communicates with our machine, and he helped design our first sewing machines, And he's just been a huge part in being able to make us get to where we're at today. And so it's just so impressive being able to have some of them here with us today. I also want to share about a few of the other members that didn't make it here today.
Yes.
We have a couple other members that on our team that just make it so, and they couldn't come here, but they really are an important part of this team, and they really make it so they can see and understand what the customers and what you guys are trying to go through. We have a couple members like Alyssa. She helps write all the instructions and be able to see from your guys' perspective what makes it really easy for you guys to assemble and use our products. And she really does a phenomenal job, and she really did take us to that next level. If you look back at some of our really old products and even just go to our website and look at our old resources, and you look at where our instructions used to be to where they are now, she really brought us to that next level, and it's just been so impressive in being able to have her help us get there. And we have some other members also. Kyle helped design a lot of the 16-inch machine, and really he's like our industrial designer, and he made it look and feel and function the way it is. And so really a lot of that is due to what he did in helping to design this machine, and that's just really important. We really do appreciate all the hard work that they've done onto these machines and frames. And so it's just really been really good, and I've just been really happy to be able to work with these super impressive team members, and I just really love it. I can share about a bunch of the other team members if we want to, and so we'll just go through them all. But Craig, he helped do a little bit on the 16-inch machine also, and so he's been a really big important part. And then Matt, he helped design a lot of our frames. He's our frame engineer really, and he helped work on a lot of those parts. Craig worked on the accessories, which we're going to share a little bit about today, and with our ruler base for the 16-inch machine. And Matt works on the frames. And then we have Rich, is another technical writer, helps write the instructions. And we just really all work together, and we just have this really important, impressive team that I just love to work with and spend time with every day. And we just really are so fun, and the creativity that we can get out of this group is just so amazing, because we really do just have a lot of fun, and I just really love it. And it's the chance that we get to work with our customers, with you guys, that really just makes it so we can see how we can express our creativity to help you guys express yours. And that's what I really love to see all the time.
Amen to that.
All right, and let's, do you want to share a little bit, Sam, too, about what you did on the machine, some of the stuff that you've done? Because I think that what you...
Go and show them the screen
Yeah.
and stuff.
So, I kind of inherited the sewing machines from Kent, so I kind of took over at a certain point with the 16. So I didn't have to do everything on it. Kent did a lot of the work, but eventually I kind of took over the sewing machines, and so that's kind of what I've been working on lately as the, I guess, electronics engineer for the sewing machines. And yeah, it was quite a challenge. I finished school about 2 years ago, and then kind of just dove straight in with this kind of stuff. And so I learned a lot, but yeah, it was, the 16 has been interesting, especially like designing the circuit boards is something that I really enjoy. But with the 16, because of the timing, the past 2 years, you may have heard that there's been like chip shortages and stuff. And so we got to redesign the circuit boards a few times. Every time we would do a design, then we'd find out, oh, we can't get this chip, so back to the drawing board. So that was a bit of a challenge.
He did a phenomenal job on that too, because he worked to make it more responsive, and he's just done such a great job. I don't know if you guys know about the programming, but really the control that you get and the responsiveness is just fabulous. So kudos.
Yeah, and then, yeah, like Carla said, I also did a lot of the firmware work on the 16, and that was another good challenge.
And the screen itself, you did a lot of work with the programming of the screen and setting it up so it makes it easy. Nice job.
Thank you. Yeah, like one thing that I have really tried to focus on since I've been here is just making our electronics easier for regular humans to use. I just notice a lot of sewing machines, just in general in the industry, one of the hard things is that they have a lot of icons that are really hard to understand, and you need to read a big manual on how to operate our machines. So we've tried to put a lot of effort into just making it easiest for somebody to pick up a new quilter or an experienced quilter and just get to quilting.
Yeah, because we all love quilting and you will love this machine. I can't wait for you to get your hands on it. So just know in a couple of weeks we'll be in Houston, and if you are able to come to Houston, come and try it out because I'm really excited about it. And thank you all for being such a great part. And I can't tell you how excited I am for this machine. I mean, it's like a new child. I mean, we're excited about the birth of that new child. And this is really exciting because we've all had such a part of it. And this whole company, it should be really proud. And we're so happy to present to you this wonderful machine. So, yeah, thank you guys for all you do. Kudos. And Cody and I are going to stick on, and we're going to talk about the bobbin winder, but, give them a shout out anytime you can.
Yeah.
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate it.
All right, so Cody, let's get to work and show them all these beautiful things on this machine that make it work so well. I mean, we really listen to quilters and understand that there are struggles and challenges. I am a quilter. I do have my struggles and my challenges, and it's really easy for us to get fixated on them and not move past them. And so with these new machines, we've really taken the technology and what we've learned from this younger generation, that they are technology savvy. And we just needed to reach that point as well. And so how cool is it that we have this younger generation becoming a part of such a wonderful industry? I can tell you, it really means a lot to me to have these young kids and what they bring to the table. I mean, you've seen the education team. We start out small and what they're accomplishing and what they're doing. And so that's what Cody and his team. He has a cute little family that he's going to bring forward in the world of quilting. So jump in and let's talk about the bobbin winder.
All right, I love it. And it's also, I love to work with our education team. We have a lot of fun. They bring us all the different problems, and they're just like, this doesn't quite work right, let's change it. And it's really a fun process to be able to go and make those changes so we can help them solve those problems. All right, so there's a few things we do want to share about our machines. We want to talk about, this is a new design for a bobbin winder. Some of our other machines didn't have it like this, and so we just want to talk about what some of those differences are so you guys can make sure that you guys can wind perfect bobbins every time.
Yeah.
And even with some of our other machines, you can do similar steps to make it so you can still get that perfect bobbin. There's some adjustments you can make to make it so you can always change how your tension works, and it is really important to do, especially as you change your thread. And if you're going from a cotton thread and a polyester thread or like a metallic thread, which actually you shouldn't use in your bobbin really anyways, it is important to make sure that you can make the adjustments.
And don't be afraid to try different threads. I mean, try them out and see how you like them. And that's what the experience in quilting is all about. And these new tools will give you the ability, and knowing how they work correctly, will give you the ability to stretch forth your quilting. So.
Make it your own. That's something that Carla always talks about that I really enjoy. She's always like, we just want to help quilters make it their own. They should make this their process. And that's what we really are trying to do and we really want to accomplish. And so there's a few things we just want to talk about with our bobbins. So you can see here, this bobbin, it looks a little bit off. It's got a little cone shape. It's got a cone shape and it's a little bit wound too soft. You can see my fingernail goes into that really easily. And I got short fingernails.
If it's squishy, it's too soft.
And so we just want to talk about some of the adjustments you need to make in order to make it so you can adjust your bobbin. And so with this one, we have here, when it was wound, it was too loose. And so with that, one of the first things you could do, just feeling how loose it is in comparison with a tight wound bobbin, which you can see that one actually was not wound very tight. And, no, that one was not great either. Which one was the good one? Oh, here we go. This is a good wound.
Yeah.
My fingernail does not go into this one. That's a little bit hard to see, but it is a little bit harder to go into that compared to this one. You can just feel the difference when you just push your fingernail against it. It's really easy to feel the difference when you have two side by side. And once you have a good one and a bad one, you can kind of start to learn to feel for what that feels like. And so after you feel that and you're like, that feels too loose to me, we can just go and you just adjust this knob. In our 16 machines, I found in general with our thread, I have a few threads even exposed down here. So you can see how it's can make it so there is a little bit of the metal extending out past the knob. On some of our other machines in the past, we've had it where it was a little bit higher, but sometimes even on those ones, depending on the thread I'm using, I do end up starting out when I'm winding bobbins with having a couple threads exposed. And so that's even when I start winding a bobbin, the process that I look at. And so that's where one of my starting points is.
That's
And
a
then
good tip.
And then when we're looking at the cone shape, the other thing that you can adjust is you can actually adjust the height on this. If you can see this nut down here, you can just get a crescent wrench and then adjust that and loosen it, and then you just twist it up one rotation at a time. You still want to end with this thread guide over here.
So tell us what they're looking for lining it up so that it will wind evenly.
Yeah. So what we're trying to look for when it will wind evenly is you really want to just, I mean, if I start with the cone shape, I'd really just look at this, and if it's cone shaped like that, that means it's winding too low and you want to go up one thread. So you just go one revolution and then try it again. And if it's coning on the opposite direction, so it's actually bunching up too high, then you go down one revolution at a time and rewind until you get it to the level so it's nice and straight that you want.
Yeah, so you want it to wind so it's not winding on the top or the bottom, so it's going up and down onto that bobbin itself. So if it's doing that, if it's coning up, coning down, really good point that he's made and what to adjust. And it's not hard to adjust. You take that little wrench and just raise or lower it. So.
Yep.
And you can do this yourself. So we're just giving you the tools so that you can make those adjustments. So don't think you need to call tech support every time. Man, you have it in you to fix these little things.
I like that. All right, now we're going to actually wind a bobbin. We'll look at a few different things here. We've changed it so instead of having to push over a mechanical switch to wind a bobbin, we now have it so you just push a button. There's a start button or a stop button, but you don't have to push the stop button. It'll actually just stop by itself. You can see this line on here. That is the fill line. And so if you have, when your bobbin's on and you just look at it from above, you can see that line, and that is how full your bobbin's going to be. So this one
That
will,
little groove right
that
there.
little groove right there on the inside will make it so that's your fill line. And so if you have that adjusted in or out, you just loosen this and you can adjust that.
It's really
in
an
or
easy
out.
adjustment.
So when
Very
it's all the way
nice.
out here, it will overfill, and
Yes.
that's not something you want because then it won't fit in your bobbin. You'll have tension issues. But then if it's all the way over here, you're just going to have a little tiny bit of thread on your bobbin. You can do like half full bobbins or smaller. And so we actually adjust it out so that we want it so there's just under a full bobbin. You don't ever want to go all the way out to the edge, so that way you don't overwind and it doesn't bulge out past where your bobbin, where it will fit inside your bobbin case.
And you just need the one Allen wrench, and it's a 3 millimeter that he used to
Yes.
adjust that.
Sorry, that's a good point. And so then after that, we can go through and we can just wind a bobbin.
You can watch the pad printing on this to wind it, and just tell them what you're doing. So you're taking it down through. This is a little bit different than we've had before.
We tried to make it so on everything on this machine that you don't have to go through as many eye holes, because sometimes those take a little bit longer to adjust and trying to feed it through there. And so we tried to make it on this machine so that everything was easier, so that way you can spend less time threading your machine when you have to redo things or change your thread color. So now we can just go ahead and start it here. Sorry,
There you go.
didn't catch it at the beginning there. And then it just stops after it breaks this line here. So we didn't have to touch it. Once it crosses that line, it will just stop by itself, which is just nice. And so then now you can take off your bobbin. We have our little thread trimmer here. You can trim off your thread, and then you can evaluate and you're like, okay, do I like that bobbin fill and how it looks?
So how does it look and how does it feel, Cody?
This
Do
one,
we
the
need to
tension
make
feels
some-
pretty good, but it does have a little bit of a bulge in there. And so if you do want to adjust that bulge out, you can go a little bit tighter even. And so you can kind of see how it's getting a little bit
A little fat in the belly.
fat in the middle. You can go a little bit tighter and it will actually start to get rid of that even more. But this
If it
wind,
were that easy, boy, we'd all be doing it. So
yeah. This wine is looking pretty good. So we can go a little tighter to make it even better, but I would stitch with this bobbin and it wouldn't have any problems. It could go a little bit fuller also. So you can
Yeah.
see how here, I actually put it down on a flat surface and then you can look and see if there's any light underneath. If it is end up bulging out, then it will be too full and it will cause too much friction inside of your bobbin.
It
Case.
will not
Inside your
roll,
bobbin
and
case.
it will get caught up and
Yeah.
makes a nice little mess underneath. So, yeah, winding the bobbin's really important. So
Yep.
we just made it easier for
We
you.
tried to make everything so it could be a little bit easier. And a lot of these tips will still work also with our other machines. And so especially this bobbin winder is also on our new 19X Elite. And so that's something that you can be able to look for, but that same method for adjustment will work on that machine also.
And it's cool that we have the dual thread stand, so
Yes.
that you can have the one for the winding of the bobbin. I always hate to have to undo all that I've done and then go and wind my bobbins. So have two spools of thread, wind your bobbins all at once so you don't have to stop. Because when you're in the groove, you don't want to stop. You want to keep going for as long as you can.
Yeah.
But do sleep.
More
It's
time
really
quilting
important.
is
Yeah.
better though. So it
Yeah.
is good that we're trying to eliminate
Right.
as many troubles and problems as you can so that way you don't have to, if with the two spools, it I think is a huge help because less threading is great and I'm not having to take thread spools off all the time while we're trying to quilt. And then you can go back and continue to wind bobbins and leave your bobbin
Well,
thread up
let's show
there.
them this neat little nifty idea that you had. And this is for the cable management, for the automation and stuff. These little brackets back here hold the wires that extend back to the automation. So very cool, and it works really nifty for our GoPros so that they're not in the way and we're not driving over them.
Yeah, and so that is, we have a question here too.
Yeah.
It says, will the 21 and 19 in the future have this new bobbin feature?
Yes.
And the 19 Elite already has it, so that's something we're already trying to work on. And then, so that one will, the 19 machines will have that bobbin winder in the future for all of our future machines.
Yeah.
And the 21 machine, we are trying to discuss what that's going to look like in the future of it. So we'll see when and if that gets added to our machines. But we are always trying to continuously improve them.
Right.
So we will, in all of our future machines, end up trying to
And
add
our bobbin winder
the
has,
features that everyone
has
likes.
improved right now as it is. I mean,
Yes.
even in our old style, we did improve it with a better motor, so it does wind really, really nice. So
Yep.
don't worry that you don't have this new bobbin winder. You've got a great bobbin winder. It's even better than when we first started, because like Cody said, we have really learned a lot. And we start out and we learn as we go, just like you in quilting.
Yep.
You find what works for you, so do we.
Yes, and it's a lot of work trying
Mm-hmm.
to figure out what works for you guys and being able to understand that, and then also just learn what makes a perfect machine. It's been a continuous improvement process. Every single one of these machines, we go through many prototypes and iterations, and then we get different samples trying to make it so we can change it so you guys can get the machines that you want. And every single one of our machines went through that process. Even the 19 machine, when we very first were trying to launch that machine,
Yes.
we got the first machines in and we're like, this isn't quite good enough.
No.
This is gonna have some problems. And so we stopped it and we
Right.
redid a whole bunch of stuff on the inside. We changed a couple of the things, how they looked and felt, and before we launched the machines, that way it could be even better and make it so everyone could have a really
It's a
wonderful
lot
experience.
smoother and it's a much better machine because we stopped and we took our time. Just like you as quilters, take your time
Yep.
and explore your process and enjoy it. Don't get in a hurry to get a quilt done that you're not really going to like. And let's also explain to them the lights. The lights are an
Yes.
added feature on this machine that are really, really nice.
So we do have a bunch of new lights on this machine, including some throat lights. You can see here on my hand, there's some
And
extra
somebody
lights.
said the light
And
down
then we
below.
have a light on the bobbin winder, or on the bobbin case, which
See,
is
right
super
down
nice
here, I
for
don't know if you
changing
guys
your
can see
bobbin.
it, so, but we can move
It's
it.
really helpful because when you have their big
Let me move it out
king size
there.
quilt on there and it's really dark, you can't get any lighting under there. Now
I'll
you can
cut
see
my
your bobbin.
threads here, just a second. And they're going, Carla, why didn't you cut your threads? Well,
Got to get our
I'm
camera
sorry.
people
There
to
you
get
go.
inside, so that way we can see
Can you
inside
see
of
that?
the machine.
right down there, that little light, let your light so shine. on your bobbin. Very cool, and it'll make your work in the dark that much easier to see.
Yep.
Anyway,
It's important to be able to see your stitches, to be able to see
Right.
your bobbin case. We all have to make bobbin changes, and so we all need to get in there and to be able to make that change. So
and with a big old quilt, it gets hard to see down there. Now, I like that it's open in the front because you can kind of feel around underneath. And somebody is asking if we like pre-wound bobbins. Yes, we do.
yeah, we
Yeah.
have pre-wound bobbins. We really like those. And it's really nice because they also tell you how much thread is on there, and then using it with like our bobbin estimator features,
Which
that's
is
really
a
helpful.
part of this machine, so
Yep.
it's part of the bobbin estimator. Also, tell them your little trick about the pre-wounds. They are wound very, very full. So
They
Cody has
are.
a little tip for you on the pre-wounds.
Yeah, so on our pre-wound bobbins, they are almost always a little fuller than some of the other bobbins when you wind them yourself. And they also use a little bit of like an adhesive to make it so it doesn't come unthreaded. And so I take off about a yard of thread every time before I start quilting and put it in my machine. And that's one of the things that I always like to do with our pre-wounds or with anyone's pre-wounds. I've never seen a pre-wound that doesn't have that.
Right.
And so that's something that I always try to do to make it so I can have that
And that's one of
perfect
those
stitch.
tips that I learned from Cody that's really important, and it has made a huge difference on any pre-wound I use. So even our pre-wounds, just take a little bit off and it will make it roll in or, unwind or quilt better in your bobbin case. If it's too full, those first few stitches are not going to be very nice until it starts to get to that point where it's like, oh my gosh, you can expand that waistband now.
Yep.
And that's what it's like. So, and also tell us a little bit more about some of the functions on the front of the machine.
Okay, we'll do that in just a sec. We did have a question I saw on the
Oh, okay.
screen. Sorry, I also wanted to address from Sharon that said, what frame is this? And so I just wanted to answer that question real quick. And this is our Q-Zone hoop frame, and it has the dual wheel track upgrade.
Right, it's the Pro frame.
And so this, with the dual wheel track upgrade, it becomes our Q-Zone Hoop Pro frame. And so those are basically the same once you get that upgrade.
And what's great about this frame is it doesn't get any larger, but you can quilt any size quilt. I love the hoop frames because they give you the capability of quilting those large quilts, and it manages your fabrics and makes it easier for you to move the machine across your quilt, making those beautiful stitches that you want to do instead of just doing straight lines, pushing your quilt through your machine. So this will really free you up to expand your quilting. So
Yes.
yeah, let's jump in and talk about the
Some
front
of
of
the
the machine.
16
Yeah.
machine. So this is our Elite machine, and so it has a few more features than some of our other ones. Specifically, it has a lot of help menus and help items that make it so has walkthroughs and tutorials. And so when you are trying to learn how to quilt, it shows you how to thread your machine. And then you can click on one of your buttons and it'll actually show you, oh, and that's how I thread it. Make sure that the thread is inside your tension discs and that you threaded the check spring. And getting those really important details to make it so you get that beautiful stitch and that beautiful texture on your quilts, which I know is so important to you guys and so important to me that we can make it so we can continue to help it so we're not struggling when we're trying to be creative and make it so we can make what we're trying to create. And so that's one of those just important things. I really do love that. There's also, when you very first get the machine, there's a, whoops, that's the update one. That's how you update your machine. But there's a walkthrough at the beginning that will show you how to, whoops, it's in here.
You have to go back.
You have to go back.
Yes. You've got the troubleshooting.
And so it has this walkthrough and it shows you how to use every feature on your machine, which is really cool. And it will go through and explain what each button does and what each mode is and make it so that way you really can understand what your machine is. And this is also a feature on our 21 Elite and 19 Elite machines, which is just really helpful and handy. That makes it so you can be able to understand what you're trying to do with the different modes or the different features on your screen.
Now, is this,
There's a bunch of other tools in there we can talk through about. There's a measure tool and a bobbin estimator and an edge warning, and those are all really helpful in making it so you can be able, especially on our hoop frames, so you know what your boundary is for quilting, or so you know how much bobbin you've used on your machine. And so there's just a lot of little things that make it so you can really focus on being creative and not having to worry about all the other things that come with quilting, like knowing how far your quilting area is. You can think about it a little bit less.
Yeah, it's like backing up your car. That edge warning comes in really handy, especially on the hoop frames, because you really don't know your boundaries as you're quilting, because the quilt is covering the sides and the front and the back. And so what the edge warning does is it just gives you a little beep, like when you're backing up your car, and it'll tell you when you're getting close so that you can move away from that area without ruining your beautiful stitches. And we don't want to ruin our designs. So this is a fantastic machine. It is so much fun to use. We love this machine. I can't sing its praises enough. Every time I get my hands on it, it's just so much fun. But not only have we created this beautiful machine, but Cody and his team really took to heart some of the issues and the struggles that we as quilters have. And he has created, with his team, this wonderful resource. It's called the Troubleshooting Long Arm Tension. And it is available for you to download off of the Tuesdays with Grace website, but you do have to subscribe to get this. It's not going to cost you any money. It's just a great resource. And even if you don't own a Grace frame, this is a fabulous tool. I'm so excited about it because cute little Alyssa, she took it on herself, really. She took this in tow, knowing that this was a real problem and a struggle. And she listened, and so not only do we have what you're looking for, but we have pictures to back it up. Because sometimes with tension, we don't know what we're looking at. And it's a real struggle. And so if you go through this guide, you will find it one of the best resources you'll ever have. And you can send me an email saying, wow, that really helped me. And I'll let Cody and his team know, because they will be very excited to hear from you. So here's like what the top stitches, when only the top stitches look bad. So this is what you're looking at. You can see that we have little eyelashes on top, or the bottom thread is pulling up through, and then you're getting little bearding underneath, what you need to look for and what you need to do. And so they'll show you what it looks like, and then they'll tell you how to fix that problem. So you get that same thing for underneath. And then we have the little section on the bobbin winder of what you need to do to fix those bobbins that are giving you struggles and challenges. So make sure that you sign up and download this. You'll love it. I'm sorry, I'm moving it up and down because I'm really excited about it. I will hold it still. Anyway, this is a great resource, and you will use it time and time again, because like I said, it's hard to know what the problem is unless you're seeing what the problem is. And with this, it's just going to be one of those resources that you're going to reach for, and then you can call the techs, okay? Reach for this, print it off, and try to do the troubleshooting yourself. We're trying to empower you as quilters to learn your machines, learn the frames, learn how they work together, and to be able to fix anything that is going to be a problem for you. And so Cody is taking it with his fabulous team in Ho to help you with your quilting.
Yep. It's a great resource, and it is some of the stuff we talked about with the bobbin winder in there. There is the same steps for solving those bobbin winder issues inside of that document. It'll go through, we tried to come up with every different type of tension issue we've ever seen, and we've added it to that document, and we talked about how to solve those different problems. So if you guys come across something different or new, we would love to also add that to it, and that's what we're really trying to always do, is make it so we can continuously improve, continuously be better, and focus on helping you guys solve your problems, because we do want to make it so quilting is easy and fun, because that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and it's not a cartoon drawing. And that was what was so frustrating when I was looking for those resources online. Yeah, everything was this little cartoon drawing, and they were telling how the thread struggles, and it was hard to understand and know from that drawing what the thread was actually doing. And so really let us know what we can do to help you in your quilting journey, because that's what we're here, and that's what we're all about here. We want to really help you enrich everybody's lives. So I'm just going to quickly show you. Also, the pattern that I talked about last week is online. I call it the Clementine quilt, because I just was thinking Clementine's, oh my darling Clementine, it was just kind of fun because it was kind of that quarter circle. I printed off and I left it open so that you could print it off as well and try to figure out how you want to quilt it. So this design right here is what I'm going to quilt it with. And I went and I decided what colors of thread. So I'm going to use the dark blue, I'm going to use white, and I'm going to use this medium blue, and this is called terracotta. Love this. So I'm using all three colors. Just kind of decide how you want to quilt your quilts. Don't be afraid to change threads. Don't be afraid to change feet. Don't be afraid to try something new. We're empowering you and we're giving you permission to try it. Go ahead. Do what you want to do as a quilter. If you think it's so far out there and so far out of the box, it's not. Somebody else has probably been doing it before you, so you go and make it your own process. And I just really appreciate you joining me today. Make sure that you download all these great resources that we have, and really email me, Karla with a K, Karla @graceframe.com. I want to see what you're working on. I want to show it off, and join me next week, because I'm going to quilt with the Wonderfoot. I'm going to show you how well that works. I'm going to do a little fun sunflower design table runner, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So join me next week, and keep joining me because we're going to do a lot of quilting here. Thanks, and take care.